Your body is a wonderland. John Mayer is not rock. John Mayer is pop. What's up, everybody? This is Scott and welcome back to another video. As you're probably accustomed to seeing, I do headphone reviews, but this one is a little bit different because today I have the new Blue Sadie headphones. However, I want to compare these with the built-in amp inside the headphones themselves to my standard age-old beauty Technica M50x's. However, obviously with the Sadies being amplified internally, I want to use this little guy. This guy is the Fiio A3 portable amplifier for headphones. To do an apples and apples comparison, I want to take these Technica M50x's and place them against the internally amplified Blue Sadie headphones to see if it's really worth the cost difference between these guys and these gals. So some of you may be wondering, why on earth would I care so much if I had an internally amplified pair of headphones? Why does it matter? Why do I even want the portable amplified headphones on the Technicas? The reason is, these gals right here are $399. They are not cheap. They do, however, sound great. So just a really quick review. They put out an amazing sound profile. However, there is limitations to these. And so I don't know if $400 is worth spending. I should say $399 is worth spending on getting the sound profile that you do out of these. However, if at roughly 50% of the cost I can get the same sound profile from my Technica M50x's and this little guy right here, is it really worth spending the $200, $190 to be specific, in order to get the same sound profile? So a bit of a tale of the tape when it comes to these two headphones. These gals right here, the Blue Sadies, are $399. They do require to be charged. You can see right here there is a charging port. These guys, these are the Technica M50x's. These are my most favorite over-the-ear headphones that I have reviewed. Far and away the best ones. However, they're not amplified, so that's where this little guy comes in. Right now, this guy on Amazon, the Fiio A3, is $59.95 on Amazon. These right here on Amazon are $129, so you do some basic math. These are $190 for the pair versus the $399 for the Blue Sadies. In order to make sure that this is an apples and apples comparison to see if it's truly worth buying those Blue Sadies at $400, I am using Google Play Music with no equalizer. Just straight up open the app, play music. That's the first bit. The second bit, these are being played through my Google Pixel XL. They're not plugged into a laptop or anything like that. So both headphones go through the exact same app, exact same settings, exact same device. And obviously I wanted to choose a wide genre of music, so I went with the following 4 songs. The first song was DNA by Kendrick Lamar. Big shout out to Kendrick Lamar. I love the new album. The second one was Defying Gravity from the Wicked soundtrack. Yeah, don't hate. I absolutely love that soundtrack. Song number 3 was a country song by Bret Young titled In Case You Didn't Know, and it's a lovely song. You should all actually go out and listen to it. Song number 4 is the Queen herself, Beyonce, with Halo. That's like a guilty pleasure song. I absolutely love that song. She's so talented. And ironically enough, I wanted to get a rock song in there, so I went to what Google thought was a rock song, and John Mayer popped up. So I listened to his new track. I don't even know what it's called. It's the one that's played on the radio, but I listened to that too, and I really won't touch on it because John Mayer is not rock. Can we talk about that? So going with our very first song right now, I'm going to go with DNA by Kendrick Lamar. For me, the winner out of the two of these was actually the Technica being powered by the A3. And the reason was because the bass just kept getting in the way for the Blue Sadies. It just seemed to muddy up the mids and the lows, and the bass just never got out of the way. I don't know if it's because it just couldn't quite escape from the headphones themselves. They do fit snug, which is great for sound isolation, but it just seemed to muddy up the track itself and never got out of the way of the mids and the highs. With the Technicas and the A3, it just seemed to clear out the haze of the bass. It let you know it would hit and it was there, but it stayed right in that vocal range that I was looking for. But again, let me thump when I wanted to thump by getting out of the way and being there when I needed it to be there. Now the Blues, like I said, had plenty of push on the low end. They just never got out of the way. They just kept pushing and pushing and pushing, and it muddied up everything. Obviously, with a song like Kendrick Lamar's DNA, it was very heavy on the bass, and that was again, on purpose because I wanted to check it across a whole bunch of genres. And while I liked the bass, it was just too much. Now, it's not too much like Dre beats too much, but it was just too much for what I was looking for. So for me, the winner out of this first song was the Audio-Technicas. Moving on to song number 2, which was Defy Gravity from the Wicked soundtrack, and here is where the blues blew the Audio-Technicas completely away. It could be because of the song choice, obviously going from something that's so heavy on the bass with Kendrick Lamar to something a lot more lighter and airy with Defying Gravity. That could play into it. When I had the blues on my head, I felt like I was inside the theater, that they were singing directly to me on both sides of my head. I was blown away with the clarity. Did you know that there was a guitar and chimes in Defying Gravity? I didn't know that, but with the blues on my head, I could feel that I was right there in the theater. One of the biggest things that I don't like about the blues was the fact that they're so damned heavy. If they weren't so heavy, I would listen to this song on repeat and just stay in that theater mode. It just washed over me like a warm hug. I legit had goosebumps when I had those headphones on because it felt so good and the music felt so right. Now, the Audio-Technicas with the portable amp, they were really, really close, but just did not quite have that much clarity like I did with the blues for this particular song. Like I said, the blues just kind of wrapped you up in a warm hug and held you there while you were listening to that song. And like I said, the Audio-Technicas were close. It just didn't quite surpass that of the Blue Sadies. And considering the cost difference, I really would have expected something like this. I'm really kind of hoping that it lasts the whole profile through all the other songs that I choose too. On to song choice number 3, In Case You Didn't Know by Bret Young. Now, this is a country song, so I wasn't quite sure what to expect because obviously with Defying Gravity and Kendrick Lamar, those are kind of polar opposites in terms of the range that I'm looking for. Now, in comparison to the other two songs, the Audio-Technicas were much, much better here. Bret Young has a very distinctive man voice, so the mids were right there, the lows were there, and even the upper parts of the song for the highs were also very crisp and clean. The mids just really shot through and punctuated much, much better on this song than some of the previous ones for the Audio-Technicas. The instruments were nice and clear as well. With this particular song choice, obviously there's guitar and some kind of twangy country type thing that was inside of it. Now, the bass throughout this entire song for the Audio-Technicas was there. It was really nice and smooth, very subtle. It was kind of like that old friend where you kind of pass in the hallway, give him a nice little fist bump. That's what it felt like. It was there, letting you know that it was there when you needed it, but only if you absolutely had to have that dab. Moving on to the Blue Sadies for this song, they just weren't quite as clear as it was with the Audio-Technicas. Now, I've begun to kind of pick up on something. I'm beginning to wonder if it has something to do with the fact that a male voice tends to be a little bit lower and a female voice tends to be a little bit higher. So I'm going to talk about that here in a little bit. Overall, the blues were really very good, but not $200 more better like I would have expected it, being the built-in internal amp. Again, because this song has a male singer, the bass hit a little bit more, and the bass just never got out of the way for this particular song. Again, not terribly bad, but not what I would expect out of $400 headphones. Moving on to song number 4, and that is from the queen herself, Beyonce, in Halo. Like I mentioned before, I had a hunch that it had something to do with the fact that it was male vocals being a little bit lower and female vocals being a little bit higher, so I chose Beyonce, and the blues were just okay. So there goes my whole theory that it had something to do with male and female and kind of the ranges of their vocals. Oh well, I gave it a shot. Leading up to the big chorus of Halo that we all know and love from Beyonce, again, guilty pleasure, love the song. I expected to be wowed, have the goosebumps like Defying Gravity. I really, really wanted that, and it just never happened. It just kind of fell flat what my expectations were for, again, $400 pair of headphones. Super clean vocals, but the bass, again, just got in the way. It tended to muddy things up. I wanted to hear Beyonce really reach for those vocals and have those really piercing, not in a bad way piercing in a very good way, sharp vocals, and it just never happened because the bass was in the way. Now, ironically enough, the Audio-Technicas with the portable amp were much better than the blues for this particular song. Again, those vocals were really nice and crisp. You hear all the instrumentals, you're kind of enveloped in the sound. The lead up to the chorus itself with Beyonce was there. It was those expectations I had with the blues, but they arrived in the Audio-Technica package. The mids hit enough to bring you into the song. The bass hit enough to give you a nice big bear hug when you needed it, but nothing that was overwhelming. And then they got out of the way and let the queen speak the way that she always does. So after I've done these 4 songs, because again, I am not doing that John Mayer song because John Mayer, he's not rock. leave a comment below if you really think John Mayer is rock. All things considered, I would rather spend the $129 on the Audio-Technica M50Xs and the $60 on the Fiio A3 and get 99% of the same sound range that you get out of the $400 Blue Sadies. But what I'll do is I'll take that $190, spend it, get those two things, put the other $200 in my pocket, and review something else for my YouTube channel. So long story short, can I make a recommendation of the Blue Sadies at $399? Nope, I can't. Go out there, buy the M50Xs, buy the Fiio A3. Hell, you can even buy the new Fiio that's $130 and still come in less with those Audio-Technica M50Xs. Pair those two things up and you get the sound profile that will take you to the moon and back. So for value alone, M50Xs, Fiio A3, go to the moon, have fun, listen to Halo. That's it. That's all I have. Like I said, go out there and buy these M50Xs. Go out and buy this little guy, the Fiio A3, and you're going to have an outstanding sound profile. As always, like, share, subscribe, thumbs up, leave a comment below, and I will see you all next time. Let me see your halo, halo, halo.